Hello everyone, Michael the Librarian of Magic here, finding and cataloging the magical and pointing you to it. Today is October the 7th, and I've got another villain drawing as we continue through the project, this third version of this series. And I'm just kind of moving right through a character that I haven't got around to being able to draw yet, and that one is Hans, Prince Hans of the Southern Isles from the original Frozen. It's a decent enough drawing. It's not my best work ever, but I'm not totally unhappy with it. But there's some interesting things to learn about Hans. Hopefully, if this is a character you really like, I did it a little bit of justice. But we'll get into it a little bit here. Hans was principally animated by Lino DeSalvo and Hiram Osmond. They're at the Disney Studios, and a bunch of other people, I'm sure, worked on developing the character and so on. But those people were listed when I looked around as two of the people who primarily worked on designing and drawing and developing the character. He was voiced by a actor called Santino Fontana, and this was basically his first acting role, voice role or otherwise. He was an actor. He is an actor of the stage. He played Prince Topher in a run of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, and primarily has some stage credits, but this was kind of his first foray into film stuff. He originally auditioned for the role of Kristoff, and they reworked the story to include this Hans character as early on in production. And when they did that and they rewrote the script, he decided to audition for Hans, and the rest is history. He did a very good job with it. All of the dialogue and everything for Hans was recorded only in a 5-day period. So over that short time, I think he did a good job of endearing himself to the audience, because a lot of people enjoy this character quite a bit. The character of Hans is sort of loosely based on aspects of the evil mirror from the original Hans Christian Andersen story, The Snow Queen, which is sort of the loose source material for Frozen in general. Basically, the idea with the evil mirror is that if you look into it, then the darkest aspects of your personality come to the surface, and then if a glass shard of the mirror gets into your body, then your heart will freeze and you'll stay in this dark, evil mode. So the looseness, quote unquote, that you could say Hans is based on this is that, at least according to the people who made the film, is that Hans is sort of a dark reflection of Anna. As you go through the movie, he's sort of a dark parallel, another side of a coin of her. They're both sort of shut out by their siblings and sort of rejected by their siblings. Hans is the youngest of 13 boys, and he knows he's not going to inherit anything. He's not in line to inherit anything in the Kingdom of the Southern Isles because of all of his other brothers. So he's trying to kind of go out and reject all that side of his family and grab something for himself. And Anna has been shut out by Elsa, as Elsa struggles with her issues in the film, but the difference between the characters, why they're kind of two sides of the same coin, is that Anna's response is to try to reach out to Elsa and love her and try to understand her, and Hans's response to his plight is to reject his brothers and reject his situation and just get really angry and dark with it all. So that's kind of the general idea with the whole mirror thing, I guess you could say. Also, one of the things about this character that kind of deserves a mention, that's sort of an interesting topic, is that he's sort of unique in his late betrayal in the movie. For most of the movie, his character is really likable, and you kind of see that you kind of get used to him as being a decent seeming guy. There are hints throughout the movie that he's darker. If you're really paying attention, then it's not a total out of the dark surprise that he makes a heel turn and kind of turns on everybody in the end and ultimately tries to kill Elsa and stuff. That's, as you can see from him brandishing the sword in my drawing. But if you are, especially on a first time through the movie, if you're not really paying attention to those tiny details and you don't really have a reason to, it is a bit of a surprise that he decides to kind of go evil. And so much so that there are still plenty of people, you can read tons of internet theories about how a lot of people think that Hans is basically innocent or a victim of, all of these forces outside of his control. In the original plan or original script for the movie, there was sort of this bit about how Hans, there was a curse put by the trolls that Hans was going to be playing this part in, that, he would be the downfall of this kingdom or whatever. But essentially it was like he was a pawn of this curse, and that wasn't really through any fault of his own. It was like motivated by the force of this curse. And they decided to do away with that plot thread. And so they needed a reason for him to be bad, a reason for him to be an antagonist, and they just made it so that he was actually bad all along and sort of turns heel in the last act of the movie. It makes it a little bit more abrupt. It makes it seem like he's two different characters in a way. And if you buy into the original troll storyline, which some people do, I guess, you could make a case that he's sort of innocent, but realistically, in the movie that we got, he's not. He's bad. He's brandishing a sword here. He's trying to kill Elsa and everything, and the troll thing didn't actually go down that way in the movie that we got. And that's also, just kind of a small aside, that's also one of the reasons why Frozen 2 has some, or the original Frozen has some weaknesses for me that make the Frozen 2 work a lot better for me, which I think is sort of a minority opinion or sort of an unpopular opinion, but I like Frozen 2 better than the original Frozen. And one of the reasons is because some of the troll stuff just hits me as weird and unnecessary and shoehorned in, and I think this is why, because they sort of changed their plot at the last minute, and the troll stuff just doesn't work right for me. It feels unnecessary. It feels tacked in. There are a lot of things they could have shored up in this movie that they decided not to, and as a result, I think that Frozen 2 is a lot more cohesive and a lot stronger. That's not to say that I don't like Frozen before the torches and pitchforks mob comes my way. I think Frozen is very good. It's better than a lot of other movies, and it stands tall. It's popular for a lot of good reason. I think it just has some smaller flaws that don't work for me more than the other movie. And if you want more reasons why I like Frozen 2, I won't enumerate on all of them here, but I made an entire reaction and review video about Frozen 2. I'll link to that at the end of this one. And you can see sort of my thoughts on Frozen 2 and why I think that actually stands a little bit taller than Frozen. But all of that to say, there's some people who are still firmly in the Prince Hans camp, that he was framed, that he was wronged, that he did dirty. Maybe you're one of those. I would be willing to listen to some cases for that. I think he's a great character. I think he is very likable. I think Santino Fontana's performance has a lot to do with that, and the music has a lot to do with that. Yeah, I think he's just a really fun character. So I can totally understand why people are kind of attached to him, why they like him quite a bit. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and my drawing of Hans, especially if you're a Hans fan. I hope that it was, decent, that it did the character some justice, and that you learned a couple of things in my the details that I dug up, and hopefully that was interesting and informative, and that you liked it a little bit. If you've got any comments about Prince Hans down below, if he's one of your favorites, or if you just want to interact with me about Frozen, maybe you like Frozen better than Frozen 2, you wouldn't be alone in that. I think liking Frozen 2 better is a minority opinion, and I accept that. It's okay. So if you want to mention things about that, that's okay. If you want to talk about your love for Prince Hans, or if you think that he's innocent and you want to make a case for that, that's okay too. If you just enjoyed the video, that's fine too, if you're just passing through. Thanks for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with another one of these. I appreciate, as always, anybody who finds these and watches them, and yeah, I just hope that you're informed and enjoy watching these as much as I did making them. Thanks as always, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next one. Bye-bye.